Welcome to episode 42, and we are going to be talking about having fear of the dark. And as you know, our show is here to educate, inspire, and will always heal and release trap emotions on a viewer, which we will be doing today. Helene and I were just talking about the fact that today is Halloween in Canada, and often where Helene and I live, it rains on Halloween. So it kind of makes it even more mysterious out there. So, a lot of people are afraid of the dark and Halloween, afraid of the noise. And, I know I do work with animals as well around the noise and Halloween because some of them get just petrified of it. But on today's show, what I think is going to be very helpful is Helena is going to talk about the difference between a fear and a phobia. As a hypnotherapist, she has a lot of information about this, but she also works with a lot of clients that do have that fear, and she releases that from them. So I am Dana J. Smithers. I am one of the Emotion Code Divas, and Helena Jenikin is the other one. And just before we get started, I want to give you a little update on last week's show. Helena worked on someone who had blocks around writing. And so I checked in with him because we like to give the updates. And not only did he get his newsletter out, this is the wonderful thing about healing, is that I believe, and I know that Helena believes the same, that if you set your intention, if you're asking the universe for some help, right, it means that you're aware that you have, a problem or something needs fixing, or you need to make some changes in your life, or something needs to shift, or whatever. So once you put that out there, you find the person that can help you with that. So in our case with Emotion Code or Reiki or hypnotherapy, it's Helena and myself that will offer that. But the beautiful thing about healing is we never know what the actual outcome, we don't know what the process is going to be by any means, because we just connect with a higher power, and then all of that magic starts working. But with this viewer that we did last week, so he got his newsletter out, or not his newsletter, sorry, he needed to get his report done. So with his newsletter, he used to have a program called Dragon. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a software program where you can just talk and it does the typing for you. So he had forgotten all about that, and he just got a new computer, moved into a new office, so he got it all set up. So now he can get his newsletter flowing, and he sends it. He has a virtual assistant who will do it. But that's what I love about when the healing process begins, because we never know where that help is going to come from. So the fact that he's got this dragon, and now he goes, yeah, just talk into it, because he feels better when he can just talk and everything flows rather than him typing, because he's not that great a typist either. So it's just wonderful. So thank you so much for that, Helena, because you did that. So be open to whatever you might decide with your logical, conscious mind what you think needs to happen. Right, Helena?
Yeah, that's right.
So let's go over to you, and you can talk a little bit about what you do and the role that hypnotherapy plays in the changes and shifts that you make in people's lives.
Excellent, excellent. So I am Helena Jenikin. I'm a certified emotion code practitioner. I'm also a certified hypnotherapist. And my specialty is actually fears and phobias. I work with a lot of dentists and doctors around people with their fears and phobias or in the medical side of things. I also recently worked with someone that had a fear of spiders, and she's spider fear free now. And also, I help women and men release excess weight, or sometimes I like to call it excess inventory. But my passion, my true passion, is helping people become smoke free, and I do that using hypnosis and the emotion code. So yeah, that's me. I've got lots of different passions, but it's all I'm using the emotion code in all my hypnotherapy sessions, and I have a lot of hypnotherapy friends that are now also learning the emotion code and adding it to their practices.
Right, because it's such a great modality, and I know I got interested in it when I was doing more business coaching. And I found that, I could do the marketing, we could do the business plan, all of that stuff was just great. But then they still seem to be a little bit stuck. Like, was it fear of failure, success? I'm not good enough. What were the blocks? So that's where the emotion code came in. So thank you so much for that, Helena. I just adore working with you, and I love doing our shows. Okay, all right. So what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about the emotion code. And Dr. Bradley Nelson, this is his book. There's lots of information, lots of YouTube videos, lots of information in his book, case studies about how to do the emotion code. So Helena and I are both certified in this. We're also certified in a few other things as well. I do Reiki and also law of attraction, helping you shift your mindset. And a lot of what Dr. Bradley Nelson talks about, we're going to go through today in terms of what does an emotion code session look like. So, Helene, let's jump right into that, and then we're going to talk about today's viewer and what we're going to be working on with people. And I'm just going to say hello to a few people. Permelia. Hello, hello, hello. Nice to have you with us, and happy that you could be with us today. Sylvia Bellini. Hello, ladies. She says, Sylvia, weather report, please. We count on you for that. And also maybe a little bit of information about whether or not you have Halloween in England. I think it's called something else, and maybe just tell us what people do there. And then one of our loyal followers, Natasha Paula Samuel, looking forward to the show. Little chilly in Romford, Essex. So their time change has already happened. So ours is coming up this weekend, Helena.
Oh.
So yeah, I remember when I was working with some clients that had a different time change last year, and I didn't know about it, and they didn't know that ours hadn't changed. It's like whatever. Anyway, all good. All right, so let's talk about what happens. So when we do a session, something I'm noticing, Helena, and I'm pretty sure you are too. I'm doing more FaceTime sessions. I'm doing more Facebook chats as well, so we can see each other. I also do Skype. I do a few on Blue Jeans, but not so many for people that aren't very techy. Sometimes it's easier. They've just got their phone and they're comfortable with that. Are you finding the same, Helena, for your sessions? And I know you have an office, so you do things in person as well.
I see people in my office, but I really enjoy using Facebook Messenger, actually, because one way is that my client and I can become a friend, and also I can send the material very easily. FaceTime's really popular, and sometimes I use Zoom.
Yes, yeah. I used to use Zoom. I switched over to programs with Blue Jeans that I like. All right, let's jump into it. So the first thing that we're going to do, whether we're working, I have some clients, I've never met them. I've worked with them actually for years. Everything's by phone. I have no idea what they look like or anything, but we have a great connect, and it's just by phone, so that's possible too. All right, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to ask permission.
That's right, because we ethically need permission to work on a person, with a person, and so the person can give us permission either verbally, if we're doing FaceTime or something video, verbally, and or sometimes just written. So I've worked on people when there's a time change, and I just get their written permission. We can also work on children and animals with the adults, the parents' permission.
Right. So the parents become a surrogate. And also when I do Reiki, if I can use a picture, or I can use, sometimes, I know it sounds weird, but I have a little teddy bear that I use because it's got all the chakras there, so I can just do that work with being their proxy.
Yeah.
So again, we can't just take somebody that we see. If we see a parent, it's Halloween time, there's Halloween candy everywhere, and I feel sorry for those kids because it's boxes of, and there's so many. Oh, mommy, can I have that box? Could we get that? Could we get that? Right? So it's all this. We can't just do that in the store and say, could we just help here? And do a little emotion coaching. It doesn't work that way, but we can become the proxy once we have the permission.
Mm-hmm.
And the proxy is us tuning into their subconscious with their permission. So it's something that we're going to ask them on today's viewer. Helena, I know you know more about this person than I do, but you've asked a severity level of 1 to 10. So what does that mean, the severity? Why do we need to know that?
Yeah. It's also called the SUDS, the suggested unit of discomfort, meaning that we want to know what the person feels. How much is this issue in their life? So we're looking for things that are 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 being very high, and our intention is to lower that number down to like 2, a 1, and preferably a 0.
Yes, and that's the reason that when people don't know or just meeting us for the first time, or they're just learning about the emotion code, often we're not just going to do one session with them, because things that are if it's a real fear that they have, or it's something really big that they've been working on for a while. The one session we often do as checkups. I might be working with someone, and we do once a month. They want to just have a checkup, make sure everything's good, they're feeling good, chakras are nice and open and balanced, and all of that. But usually, it's 2 or 3 sessions, depending on what it is. And I know with Helena's hypnosis, there's some that are shorter sessions and some that are longer sessions. So, it's going to be up to your subconscious what comes up during that session, and we won't know until we start working with you. Mm-hmm. Because what you think might be going on up here, in here, not usually. Helena and I talked about this last time on a show, that often people, when we're working with weight release, or they want to lose weight, it's not really about the weight. The weight is attached to something much bigger, and it's really literally. I mean, we talk about Dr. Brad talks about emotions being trapped in the body, physically the size of a lemon or a cantaloupe. So imagine, the weight that you've got, if you do have a lot sort of, packed onto your body. Those are emotions that you've got. So we remove them one by one. And as Helena said, sometimes the severity goes from a 10 to a 0. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it might stay at a 3, 4, which just lets us know that, yeah, we need to do a little bit more work here. Yeah. And so how do we release the trapped emotions? We're going to be doing what we call muscle testing.
So muscle testing looks different for, there's lots of different ways to muscle test, and Dr. Brad's book has lots of different techniques that you can learn. I decided that I would like this technique where I take my 2 fingers and interlock them into a ring, and then with my subconscious mind, I have an agreement that when I pull and I think of the word yes, my fingers lock together, and when I think of the word no, they just slip apart. And it's, I can pull really, really hard, and I can just do it very gently. So that's the way I do it. And Dana, how do you do your muscle testing?
Yeah, I do mine a little bit differently, still using my fingers, although sometimes I will use a pendulum, but I find the pendulum for me is a little bit slow. It works very, very well. You'll get a clear yes or no, but I tend to like to get rid of those emotions a bit more quickly. And so I put my thumb and index finger together. Again, I have agreement with my subconscious, and then I take my index finger and middle finger, and that's a clear yes for me, and that's a clear no. So we can do it fairly quickly. So what we're doing is we're going through a list of 60 emotions that Dr. Brad has narrowed down from thousands, then hundreds. And we have found, and Dr. Brad has been doing this for years, that these are the ones that will come up. So we ask the question, is it
in column A or column B? And then there's 6 different rows. So we'll ask then, is it an odd row or an even row? And that way we get down to a particular cell of 5 different emotions. And then we ask individually about those 5 different emotions using the muscle testing.
Right. And so once that emotion has come up, the way that we release it is by using a magnet.
Yeah. Magnet. And magnet, what it does is it's pure energy, and it also intensifies our intention. What we do with the magnet is we use the magnet and we swipe over the governing meridian. In Chinese medicine, They talk about energy throughout your body, and they've identified that the governing meridian, which attaches to all the different meridians, begins here underneath the nose and goes all the way down to your tailbone. So you'll just see us swiping like this. And what's really interesting is today I don't have my magnets anywhere near me, but with my intention and the magnetic power in my body already, I can actually use my hands with my intention and swipe over like this.
Exactly.
It's really cool. Don't know how it works, but we just know it works, right, Dana?
Yeah, that's this interesting thing about energy healing, right? When I was doing my, I do a little self-healing Reiki every day, and I have a video that I like to watch, and it was a picture of the earth, and on the earth there was a tree, and then behind it all the stars and a moon. And I thought, yeah, there's the universal law of gravity, right? We can't see it, but it keeps us planted, on the ground. The things that we take for granted, well, imagine what this energy is doing and how we're releasing. How does our hand become a magnet, and how do we release these things? I mean, these are all the mysteries of life, but the evidence is there. The evidence speaks for itself. The results that we get sometimes are immediate like that. Sometimes the processing takes a little bit longer, but it's just miraculous the way the hypnosis works, the way law of attraction works in our life when you understand how to deliberately use it. And with the emotion code, I'm always amazed at what comes up, because again, Helena and I don't know what went with emotion code, what the outcome will be or what the person's process is going to be. We don't have any control over that. We just set our intention, we do our work honestly, and then we just let a higher power take over. And also, as Helena said, it's all about intention, right? Setting that intention. So Helena, I noticed that you are, like me, drinking.
Drinking. Yeah, it's totally hydrating today, wanting to be hydrated, and that's a big key for emotion code practitioners, is to remember to be hydrated. Our bodies are mostly water, and we know that energy, electricity, moves very rapidly through water. So allowing our bodies to be hydrated, our brain to be hydrated, allows us to get clearer, crisper answers when we're doing the muscle testing. My clients also I find them sipping along with me when they're drinking their water. It seems to help process the emotions too.
Exactly. All right. So Helena, tell me a little bit about the person that I'm going to be working on today, and then you're going to be talking about explaining the difference between a fear and a phobia.
That's right. So we have a gentleman volunteer today, who's actually an older person. He's about 85 now, and he's has Parkinson's, is in a care facility. And so the wife, who has power of attorney over his affairs, has given permission to work on him. And he has a fear of the dark. And I'm not sure if that's because of something that's going on, emotions. I believe it is emotions, because what he's afraid of seems to be irrational. But who am I to say what someone sees?
Right.
And so there's
severity?
Severity, I would say it's a 10, because
nighttime is not,
and nighttime is not a favorite time of his at all. It seems to really resist going to sleep, wanting to go to sleep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, all right. Well, I will appreciate that. And with emotion code, just as I'm just asking a little bit about it, we don't have to know a huge amount of the story to be able to help somebody and release trapped emotions, but it's helpful to know what it is they are working on. And then we may get different intuitive questions to ask when we're doing it, even though we are releasing the trapped emotions. So I'm going to go ahead and start that, Helena, and if you want to just talk about, maybe say hello to a few people, and then let's jump in for our education piece.
Excellent, good. So just saying hello to, so thank you, Sylvia, for the lovely weather report. Lovely and sunny day there in the UK. And yes, they do have Halloween. Natasha Paula Samuel. Hi, Natasha. So yes, Dana and Helena, we are in the UK and we have Halloween also, and we do things like trick or treat. It's very popular. And a friend of mine, Karen Woodfield, she's also a motion code practitioner as well as a clinical hypnotherapist. And I know, Karen, you work here on the in North Vancouver in British Columbia, and you see a lot of people for hypnobirthing, I believe. And you're using the emotion code as well. And Kelly May Glover, good morning, Kelly May. How's the island today? Happy Halloween. So, Karen, I'd love you to add some comments in here, which is because you're a hypnotherapist. But when I was going through hypnotherapy school, I really didn't understand the difference between a fear and a phobia. The way that I understand the difference between a fear and a phobia is a fear is something, we'll call it rational, and a phobia is something irrational. And the irrational part comes with, let's say a person has a fear of a snake and they've never seen a snake, but yet they can think about a snake in their mind and all the same emotions would come up as if they had seen a snake. Their heart starts racing, maybe they're getting hot or sweaty or cold and clammy. Their breathing starts to get shallow, they get really nervous, they get fidgety, all by just thinking of a snake. What's going on? There's no snake, but somehow, somewhere, their subconscious mind is linking a snake with the feeling of this anxiety, this fear, this nervousness. Now, a fear, I like to have this definition that a fear is derived from, let's say someone's afraid of a dog, and perhaps they were actually attacked by a dog. There was a physical attack there. There was actually physical harm. There was fear created. So the fear comes up whenever they see a dog. So when they see a dog, they get the same reaction, the nervousness, the jumpiness, the sweaty, the cold, the hot, and actually the feeling. So that's how I like to define the two different ones is when you can conjure up the feeling of the fear, the emotions when the object is not there, and so that's the phobia. There's the people say I have a fear or a phobia of flying. Imagine if you've never even been on a plane and you have a fear of flying. I would call that actually a phobia. You've never been in a plane. So what's going on? Well, it's emotion. And my favorite story is about the lady that I helped who had a fear of spiders. She thought it was a phobia, but it was a fear because whenever she saw a spider, she would laugh, she would shriek and scream and cry all at the same time. And she recounted a story when she was about 18, sitting around a campfire, and her friends and her it's nighttime, and they were telling ghost stories. And somebody was very clever. They thought they were very clever and wanted to scare her. And in the dark, at a point in the story, they tossed plastic spiders onto her. And so she said that she shrieked, laughed, and cried when that happened. And she believed that that's where she began her fear of spiders, because she never had it before. Well, during the hypnosis session with her, I used a technique called age regression, and we went to an earlier time when she had a similar feeling of when she sees a spider. And she recalled the time when she was about 11 years old, and she was in elementary school, and she was being bullied. And the girls in the cafeteria took her and threw her into the garbage can, head first into the garbage can, and threw a plate of spaghetti on her. And she recounted how she shrieked, laughed, and cried. And so what we did there is, because she's in a hypnotic trance state, seemed very real to her because she's recalling a memory. We were able to reframe that situation because she was also an adult. When we think back to a childhood memory, we're also an adult thinking of us as a child. And what she really wanted in that particular situation to feel better was that some adult would come by and see what would happen and actually intervene between the girls that were bullying her and her in the garbage can. And so in her mind, what we did is we actually made that happen. And then she felt more empowered. But what really helped her heal that particular situation is when she recognized that those girls were actually bullying her because they themselves were being bullied at home. And they were lashing out and acting out. They were trying to find their power, their voice, their ability to just be in charge of their life. And that little girl, when she had the understanding that those girls were actually being bullied, that they were lashing out and acting out because they were frustrated, that little girl all of a sudden could have compassion for them. And her heart energy just sent out to them that she had compassion for them. And that little 11-year-old girl all of a sudden got all the power that she needed, all the wisdom that she needed. And then we finished up the session and we moved forward through time feeling really good, imagining in hypnosis, in a trance-like session, the future time when she may see a spider and how she would react. And in her mind, she would simply take a look at that spider and go, "Isn't that interesting?" and move on. Well, I was really happy to see her the next week when she recounted a story. She was sitting outside at her home, and she lived very close to lots of trees and so forth, and she was sitting with a friend, and they were having a beverage outside, and a spider literally crawled up over her foot and into the trees, the forest. And she didn't shriek, she didn't yell, and she didn't cry. She just stated, "Oh, isn't that interesting?" And she was free of her fear of spiders. The mind is a very powerful thing. That's my story. So if you have a fear or a phobia, reach out. It's not necessary to have it. You can release it. You can see a hypnotherapist. You can have an emotion code session. It's possible to move past that. And, oh, guess what? My sister is watching. Hi, Tina. Happy Halloween. I think today you're moving into your brand new house. You, my dear, are a powerful manifester. Dana, my sister, is a powerful manifester. She sets her intention, what she wants, and then she takes action and goes and gets it. So congratulations, Tina. Dana, what did you find about this gentleman with his fear of the dark, this 85-year-old gentleman living in a care facility?
Very interesting, particularly the fact that on our emotion code chart, down the right-hand side of it as well, Dr. Brad has put specific organs of our body that, that coincide and can coincide with the emotions that come up. So for me, I like to work a lot with chakras, and I do work a lot with chakras, whether it's emotion code or Reiki. But what I found, I've never had this happen before, Helena, where all the emotions were in row 2 and all A and all B. So plus just one other one. So it started off with creative insecurity, which I released. And then anxiety and despair were a psychic trauma. So when two emotions are trapped together, and that's how they come up for us, is it one, is it two, and they're staying together, then that's a psychic trauma. Disgust came up, hopelessness, vulnerability, and then hopelessness came up again, but it was inherited from this person's grandfather on his father's side. So trapped emotion of hopelessness. Then low self-esteem came up, lack of control, and failure. And so when I look at these in the area of the spleen and the stomach, those are around the solar plexus area. So, it could be that this person also has some possibly digestive issues as well that could be going on. And sometimes too, that can actually have an effect when you're sleeping, and you may not get a good night's sleep because of the things that are going on in your body. So for me, this time it did go from a 10 to a 0. So hopefully he'll have a better night's sleep and not be afraid of the dark. That would be my intention and what I hope the session brings for him. Again, Helene and I have said we don't know what, how that will process in this person's life, particularly too when someone is on a lot of medication.
Yeah.
I find that medication kind of, changes a little bit of the dynamic. But again, we are going in with pure intention to help, and we're going into the subconscious. So I'm just going to be of the belief that the medications don't have anything to do with that, and we're just bringing that pure, clean energy and releasing those emotions for that person.
Lovely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. So I'm going to have to go back and listen to your talk on fears and phobias. Helena posted a video, I don't know when it was, on the weekend or yesterday or whatever, but about NLP and fear of snakes.
Yeah.
So a while
Actually,
back.
You know what? I'll post that in this particular.
Okay, then I saw it somebody. Yeah, it's a really good one. And that NLP, the way he runs the movie and the way he did that, I've actually seen that done before in someone else who had the fear of snakes. So and also I'm better. Maybe I need the full hypnotherapy session on that. But it's just about running a different movie. So from the time this person started with this fear and or phobia of snakes, I mean, he was just petrified. And at the end, they brought in, I mean, a really big snake. Those are the garden snakes. I would play with them, right? But something that big. So yeah, do post that for us, because it was very good. And as I said, I've seen that NLP technique done several times, and running that movie, and I've even. Mm-hmm.
And as a hypnotherapist, I have a little more insight into what's going on in that particular demonstration. And
Lots of
you'll
things.
notice, if when you watch it, that it is all about emotions. It's all about emotions, and transferring the emotion, interchanging the emotion, and it working in the brain to change the emotion where it sort of lives, and how it comes out and what you associate. So there's lots of amazing techniques available. They're quick, they're rapid. 1, 2 hypnotherapy sessions, knock it right out. And Karen, I think you'll agree with me that you have a fear or a phobia, just seek out an emotion code practitioner, a hypnotherapist, a Reiki practitioner, someone, and allow yourself to get over it.
Right, exactly, because it's the first thing is the awareness of it, right? Once you realize, what, this is not serving me, right? I'm not getting out of life, it's not joyful, and I need to move forward on that.
Yeah.
Great. So we'll just say hi to a few people. Kelly May, thanks for watching. Been doing some work on her beautiful dog, Sian. Love her, she's very precious. And just going to see who else is there. A few happy Halloweens, and we know that they do have Halloween in the UK, and trick or treat is going on there as well. So next week's show, so we'll be looking for a viewer. It's episode 43. If you have nightmares, or anybody that has nightmares, you could ask if they would like to give us their permission that we could release some of those trapped emotions around nightmares. Also, if you have any young children, or someone that has these nightmares, or even oftentimes, I know nightmares sometimes can cause some bedwetting with younger kids, where they just something happens in their body, and it kind of gets them in a very scary place, and very very strong emotions when you're having nightmares, especially if they're consistent. So if you have that and you'd like those released, we'd be happy to work on you. And please share our video. And Helena, how can people find out where you are and get a hold of you?
Certainly. So my website is flourishhypnosis.com/emotion-code. I have a Facebook page, Flourish Hypnosis, as well as a YouTube channel, Flourish Hypnosis.
Excellent, thank you. And you can find me at danasmithers.com/emotion-code, or if you're interested in, if you have an animal that needs some Reiki, danasmithers.com/animal-Reiki. My YouTube channel is Empowered Women in Business. There's lots of different playlists on there, including the Emotion Code Divas, Law of Attraction, and a few other things that I have dabbled in my life. So that's it for now. So happy Halloween, everybody, and please share and invite people to to watch us. And we really do appreciate those people that have liked our page, promote us, leave comments. We really do appreciate that very much. So happy Halloween, and I guess we could have worn something scary today. I never thought of that.
I was trying to find something kind of orangey. This is the closest I could find.
Well, I got a bit of orange in the picture there, but that's about it. A bit of orange on my scarf. All right, then, that's us for now. So have an awesome day. Have an awesome week until we see you next week for our next show. Bye for now.
Bye.